What if everything you believe about your freedom is a lie? What if your choices, your beliefs, your career, your partner, your goals weren't really yours to begin with?
We live in a world that praises individual freedom. We grow up being told, you can be anything you want to be. But what if that promise is a clever illusion? A beautifully packaged lie repeated so often that it starts to feel like the truth. This isn't just philosophy. It's psychology, neuroscience, ancient wisdom, and modern manipulation all rolled into one. And today, you're going to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Because free will might be the biggest lie ever told.
Let's begin with something simple. Think of the last decision you made today.
Maybe you picked what clothes to wear, what to eat, what to watch, who to message. It felt like you made those choices freely, right? But here's the catch. Studies in neuroscience have shown that the brain begins preparing your decision before you consciously make it. A famous study by Benjamin Libet in the 1980s found that your brain's motor cortex activates milliseconds before you even think you've decided to move. In other words, your brain decides, and then your mind catches up and says, I chose that.
So who or what is really in control?
Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, shattered the myth of conscious control.
He said most of our behaviors are controlled by the unconscious mind, deep, dark warehouse of repressed desires, childhood traumas, and fears we pretend don't exist.
Imagine an iceberg. The part above water is your conscious self, the massive structure beneath. That's the unconscious.
And that unconscious is pulling your strings. Ever overreacted to something small? Felt irrational fear? Sabotaged your own success? That wasn't you. It was your unconscious, dictating your behavior without asking for permission.
Freud would say, you are not the master of your own house. Carl Jung took it even further. He introduced the concept of the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, suppress, and deny. Everything you were told was bad or wrong as a child gets buried in the shadow. But what we bury doesn't disappear. It controls us in secret.
Jung wrote, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate.
Think about that. Your patterns, your addictions, the relationships you're drawn to, the way you respond to conflict, all shaped by the parts of yourself you've never even met. Let's step beyond the mind. What about society?
We're born into systems, school, religion, media, government, all telling us what is normal.
By age 5, you've already absorbed over 80% of your foundation beliefs. You didn't choose your language, your religion, your nationality, your ideas of success or failure. They were given to you. And every day, they are reinforced by what your parents praise or punish, what your teachers teach, what your friends mark or admire, what social media glorifies.
You're living inside a program.
Free will? You're operating in a narrow corridor defined by culture. You think you're choosing, but you're really complying. Now, let's talk about capitalism. Ads, branding, influence, manipulation.
Your wants and desires are being sold to you. Why do you want that iPhone, that body shape, that car? Because it's cool, or because someone convinced you it is. Corporations spend billions hiring psychologists, behavioral scientists, and AI to study you.
Not to give you freedom to predict and control your behavior. You are the product.
And when you buy into it, you believe your desires are self-made. They aren't.
Even your biology plays a part. Your genetics influence your personality, intelligence, and temperament. Hormones affect your mood, attraction, and risk-taking. Think about addiction. Is it a choice or a biological compulsion? What about depression, ADHD, OCD? If you're chemically wired a certain way, could you really say your decisions are freely made? Science says, probably not. Ever watch The Matrix?
It's not just sci-fi. It's a perfect metaphor.
Most people live in a mental simulation. They wake up, go to work, follow the rules, obey the system.
They believe they're free, but they're asleep.
And you didn't escape until he saw the code, until he realized that everything around him was a designed illusion.
The red pill wasn't freedom, it was awareness.
And once you're aware, you can't go back.
Ancient Eastern philosophies, like Buddhism and Taoism, also question free will. They teach that the self is an illusion, a bundle of thoughts and desires shaped by karma, environment, and cause and effect. Lao Tzu said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. True freedom, they say, is not about control. It's about letting go of the illusion of control.
Ironically,
When you stop clinging to the idea of free will, you become more conscious. So, is there no hope? Are we just puppets?
Not exactly. Awareness is power. The more you study your own mind, the more you recognize your patterns, traumas, and conditioning. The more you begin to choose differently. Freedom isn't automatic. It's earned through deep self-awareness, reflection, and rebellion against the mental chains. So here it is.
Everyone is lying to you, not out of malice, but because they're trapped to. They believe in the system. They believe in the illusion.
They didn't question it,
But you did.
and that makes you dangerous.
Because once you see the illusion, it begins to crack.
And maybe, just maybe, that's where true freedom begins. Not in doing whatever you want, but in knowing why you want it.
And choosing to wake up anyway.